Welcome to the Democracy Live online balloting portal. The system is called OmniBallot, and it's designed to provide a fully accessible balloting experience for all voters, regardless of disabilities or where they're living around the world. This tool, OmniBallot, has been deployed in over 1,000 elections since 2008, being deployed in the 2020 election in over 20 states around the country. Millions of voters have been served by OmniBallot over the years, and what we're going to be showing you here today is the way that the voter would go through the process of accessing their ballot, marking their ballot, and either printing or returning their ballot using the OmniBallot web balloting portal. It's important to keep in mind, before we get into it, that security is first and foremost for OmniBallot. Everything you're going to see here today is securely hosted in the AWS federally approved cloud environment. The same cloud environment that's been approved by literally every federal agency, including the CIA and Department of Defense and Homeland Security. Federal agencies have approved AWS to secure some of the nation's most critical documents. That's why Democracy Live has partnered with AWS to host the balloting experience, which essentially is a document, the ballot being hosted in a cloud environment, being delivered securely to a voter who may otherwise not be able to vote because perhaps they can't see the ballot, they can't hold the ballot, they can't mark the ballot because they're blind. Maybe they have Parkinson's, or they have palsy or some level of paralysis. Maybe they're serving abroad in Afghanistan, or maybe they're a scientist in Antarctica, a submariner out on the Pacific, or perhaps a missionary in Africa. All of these types of voters have been served by Democracy Live over the last 10 years. And today we're going to walk you through how the system works. Again, the system is called OmniBallot. And the very first thing a voter would do is they would log into OmniBallot by identifying what type of ballot that they need. Now, there's close to 200,000 different types of ballots in this country, serving close to 200 million voters. So we want to make sure that you're able to get the correct ballot delivered to you, specific to your ballot, from president down to school board, from senator down to the city council. And they do that by identifying the correct ballot style by typing in your first, last, and date of birth. At this point, the voter will be prompted to type in their driver's license, a PIN number, a whole set of different identifiers. That's really up to the state or the locality on what they want to use to make sure that they're able to identify the correct voter, to make sure that they get the correct ballot. And then at this point, the ballot has been delivered to the voter, fully accessible, audio enabled. So if you're not able to read the ballot because perhaps you have low vision or you're blind, having a reading disability, the ballot can be read out to you. And as you're going through the ballot, all voters, again, if you're serving in the military, you're stationed or living abroad, if you can't see, mark, or hold a ballot, you can go through the process of marking your ballot with all the same rules and regulations that your local elections authority has. And you can go through, read, listen, mark your ballot, and then you can review your ballot to make sure that the ballot represents your selections. And again, if you're blind, have low vision, you can hear everything that's on the screen. Go back through and notice that on this summary screen, oops, I didn't make a selection. I want to vote on this contest. So it will remind you that you might have undervoted a particular contest, and that's okay if you wanted to, but this is just a reminder page, summary of how you voted. Now at this point, the voter has been able to access their ballot, mark their selections. And now, because what we're going to do on this particular demonstration is we are going to return the ballot electronically. Of course, we can always print out the ballot and mail it back in. It's a law across the country that every state has to electronically deliver a ballot to voters living abroad or serving in the military. In majority of those states, 31 states, they have to allow for the voter to return the ballot electronically from living abroad or stationed abroad. And so what we're trying to do here with Democracy Live and through OmniBallot is to provide a more secure method of returning that ballot electronically as required by law in over 30 states in this country. The best way to do that is to comply with the current laws that they have today. And typically in an absentee ballot or vote by mail environment, the voter would have to go ahead and sign their name. And that's what they're going to do here. They're going to sign their name on their screen on their laptop. And once they've done that, just like signing your name on your kitchen table, the only difference that actually in doing this, close to 500,000 times now around the country, the signature that I just did right here actually has been matching up at a higher rate than the traditional conventional marking of your signature on your kitchen table with a pen. This signature here has actually a slightly higher fidelity than writing it with the pen. There's a lot of reasons for that, and part of that is because the signature that they're verifying is the same signature that was done probably electronically when you first registered to vote. And so they're really matching electronic signature to electronic signature, much like we just showed you here. So what I'm doing now is I've accessed my ballot, I've marked my ballot, I reviewed it, and now in order to return it electronically, that's my option in some states. I could have also printed off my ballot, but now that I've signed my signature page, just like we would have with a paper absentee or vote by mail ballot return package, I'm going to verify that I've got all my information here that I need, including the signature. Now that signature there is my signature. That's how the state or local elections authority will match up the signature upon my return of the ballot. And that's really just like every other absentee or vote by mail ballot in the country. It's going to be the signature that really shows the authenticity and identifying the correct voter is actually sending in their ballot and it wasn't fraudulent. It was based on the signature. And that's just like how over 70 million vote by mail ballots have been conducted year over year in this country. In fact, the majority in the 2020 election cycle will be done through this method. And it's the signature on the inbound that's verified by the elections authority who's trained to verify signatures to be able to match those signatures on the return. So now I've confirmed that that's my signature. Now I'm going to go and confirm that the ballot was my selections. Now this is a voter verified. I'm verifying the ballot that's on the screen here. What I'm looking at, this is very important, what I'm looking at is all hosted securely in a federally approved cloud environment, the same cloud environment that securely hosts some of the nation's most critical documents. In this case, that document happens to be a ballot. But this is proven technology through AWS. That's why they've gotten all the federal certifications to make sure that they can securely host documents. And again, this ballot happens to be a document. At any point, I can print it out myself and I can mail it back in. I can go down to a Dropbox, bring it to my county elections office and drop it off. Or I can allow the elections authority to return it and print it out. So in the way that the system works, the ballot is in this cloud environment. I can print it out, or I can provide the option where the elections official can print out the ballot and the return materials at their location. So really what it does is it eliminates the mailman, the mail truck, and the mailbox. All we're doing here is allowing for the elections authority to download this ballot that I'm looking at. I'm not submitting anything back and forth through the wires. It's just hosted in that cloud environment. And when they download it, they're going to verify that signature. If the signature is approved, then another individual will download the ballot, just like the same process that they have today when you mail in your ballot. So at this point, everything looks good. That's how I wanted to vote. That's being stored in that very secure cloud environment called Object Lock from AWS. My ballot looks good. My signature looks good. And now I'm going to submit my ballot. And really what this does is it is a notification back to the county elections office that there's now a ballot package ready for downloading. And at that point, they print out that ballot, and it's the paper ballot that's tabulated. And that's really important. It's always a paper ballot that gets tabulated. It can be a paper ballot that's recounted. I was able to verify, voter verification is really important here. I was able to verify that the ballot was marked correctly, securely hosted and stored in that federally approved cloud environment. The elections official downloads the ballot. They print that out for a paper tabulation. And at the end of the process, what I've been able to do is access my ballot, even if I'm blind or disabled, living or serving abroad, to fully enfranchise all voters, regardless of where they're living. So at this point, this concludes the OmniBallot presentation of how it works. This is being used right now in a handful of smaller pilots around the country. And we're going to learn those lessons. We're going to continue to be in dialogue with the elections community and the security community, and importantly, the disability community, because we don't want to leave any voters behind. And that's the entire goal of OmniBallot and Democracy Live, to fully enfranchise those that would be otherwise disenfranchised. I want to thank you for your time, and please contact Democracy Live with any questions. Thank you.